I can count from 1 to 10,000 to get you to sleep, but don't make me sing a lullaby. Are you that bad at singing? Not. Because I sing so well, I'm afraid you'll stay up all night wanting to hear me sing. She laughed. He also laughed. Go to sleep, little girl. She obediently said, yes, and turned off the phone. He imagined the scene where she snuggled under the blanket and slept, smiling to herself. She will probably look like an angel. What will people be like when they start a love relationship? Maybe I really miss you, then wait, then hope to meet you. Sometimes I think about people and laugh idly alone. Sometimes I want to coddle like a child, that feeling he devoted entirely to her. Maybe I love you. But he loved because of what? Love the smart and innocent way of talking. Love the voice of bell like glass. Love innocent laughter without any problems? Or love her childish aggressiveness while still being profound, delicate, and gentle? He himself wasn't sure what it was for. Even he wasn't sure if it was love or not. At 29 years old, having broken up with his lover twice, he understands that he is no longer too young to spend time on adventures anymore. He is no longer so romantic that he believes in the miracles that can happen in life. Many times he reminded himself to treat her like a little sister, and stop calling as much as before. But then every night, before going to bed, nostalgia motivated his heart, motivating his hand to dial the number. I know I fall in love, but I do not want talk by phone. How excited he was to have the opportunity to go on a business trip to Hanoi. Meet her, certain that he would say. Coffee shop. He arrived first, waiting for the girl he knew through a wrong number. Is your hair really long or shoulder length? Are her eyes round and innocent or bright and mischievous? Perhaps she has a beautiful, high, straight nose. Maybe she has a charming smile. Maybe. He didn't dare to imagine more. Maybe everything you imagine is wrong. Hello. Glass bell tinkling behind. He turned around, stunned. Because she's not pretty. So bad. She never said she was beautiful, but he deliberately didn't believe it. Apart from her waist-length hair, there was nothing like what he imagined. For a moment, he couldn't control his emotions. Can only say one sentence, perhaps simple. Please sit down. She pulled out a chair, sat down, ordered another glass of ice cream, dug in with a spoon, and ate deliciously. He quickly realized his emotions were plummeting. Cursed myself for imagining too much. Cursed myself for putting myself in an ironic situation. She raised her head and looked at him sideways, smiling slightly. More sympathetic smile was sarcastic. But he found himself lost confidence. Are you stunned by my beauty? She asked, breaking the silence between the two. Oh yes, you really. Not pretty, she laughed, blocking his sentence. I already told you, but if you're sad about this, I'll cry. There was no anger or blame in her words. Her voice crackled like small transparent stones hitting a glass cup. "You sound very familiar. Every night. But now I realize the danger of holy and intelligent girls. Whether they are popular or not." He lost confidence. Not really, because the girl before him, but because he sees himself as false and insignificant. Never before did he think that appearance would affect his emotions so much. He always thought of himself as a kind and decent man, not shallow or bland. Yet, luckily, he never said anything stupid to her on the phone. He remembered, before leaving, how excited he was. He imagined her childish and very pretty face, imagined her gentle gaze and soft hands. And now, a year ago, H said goodbye. A love that lasted 4 years, that seemed to last forever, suddenly fell apart. The man's arrogance did not allow him to hold H back. But from that moment on, there was a wound in his heart that he thought could never be healed. The more tough a man is considered to be, the softer he becomes when he is disappointed. And that's why, when he was drunk and called his friend, he mistakenly dialed her number. That clear, childish voice of the North captivated him right from the first words. She patiently listened to him tell stories, kindly showed him how to get rid of his hangover, and advised him to go to sleep. The next day he called her back to thank her and asked to be her friend. Phone friend. She smiled softly. She and he got to know each other like that. Much later, when he got used to talking to her every night, he once asked again, "Why did you still answer the phone when you knew I had the wrong number?" "Because I think at that time you really needed someone by your side. I thought I could help you." The answer was honest, simple, without exaggeration, but he was strangely touched. "I think I love her." Until now, when he saw her appear before his eyes, still with that voice, still with that laugh, but he felt his heart sinking. Strangely enough, life as we imagine it is never life at all. However, every night, after finishing work, he still invited her to go out with him. Because he doesn't have any friends or close relatives here, and he doesn't know many streets. But over time, he really wanted to go with her. Everything about Hanoi becomes familiar and close through her voice. She took him all the way, telling him every related story, both stories from long ago, and stories related to her from days long past and near. She is like a small, agile, and carefree squirrel. Her single eyelids never show any sadness. "We used to come to this place often in the past." He squinted at her, asking, "Us? It's me and my ex-boyfriend." "Why is it old? Why did you guys break up?" She smiled peacefully. "Because one day he realized he no longer loved me." He says nothing, quietly looks at her. There seemed to be no unusual expressions on her calm face, but he noticed something broken in that calm smile. He was startled, felt his heart pounding. A strange, strong emotion rushed to surround him. Because when, since breaking up with H, has he been able to talk about his old love calmly, peacefully, without pangs of hatred? Have you ever been able to talk about H in a loving and affectionate tone like she talks about her ex-lover? He defended himself by saying he loved her too much, but that was not the case. Love not only means keeping it for yourself. Loving also means knowing how to forgive, accept and forget. One day, he misses her more. It wasn't just her voice and laughter anymore, but the way she spoke, the way she laughed, her sideways glances and mischievous steps. It's her eyes that light up when she tells him little stories. It's the typical Hanoi dishes that she's been cooking and making. He looked forward to finishing work every afternoon, and looked forward to wandering somewhere with her every evening. Hanoi is probably a lot more beautiful in his eyes thanks to her. The last week he was in Hanoi, it got cold. One Sunday morning, she rushed into his room, bringing with her the cold outdoor wind. Turning her head to look at his huddled appearance, she smiled. "Let's go play. It's so cold, I can't stand the weather here." "Come on," she begged. "You don't have much time to enjoy the cold here. I want you to remember Hanoi's winter." He was convinced, but still felt discouraged by the weather. She took him to the Red River beach. Winter, cold wind blowing paddy. He sighed because he was not used to the weather. She took a gray-blue wool scarf from her pocket. "This is yours." The scarf was woven unevenly. She blushed slightly and explained. "This is my first time knitting. And I have to knit quickly, because if I don't, I'm afraid I'll go back to the South." He looked at her childish face, red with embarrassment, and realized that my heart was broken into 1,000 pieces. He is surely that he is in love. Those are the true feelings of an experienced person. Gone love and hatred. Meet and separation. Happiness and pain. Without hesitation, he put his arms around her. "I love you very much." She hid her face in his chest and whispered, "But I'm not pretty." He spoke gently, word by word. "Stupid, because you're not pretty. I know I really love you." For him, and perhaps for her, Hanoi was no longer cold that day.